Welcome everyone to today's presentation, Protecting with Pride. My name is Linda O'Malley and I am an Assistant Director with the Department of Public Safety. I wish we were together face to face as I enjoy interacting with all the families of our new students, but I want you to know I am available at the end of this presentation to answer any additional questions that you might have that I did not cover, and I will provide you with all of my contact information on the final screen. So let's get started. Our department at a glance. Karen O'Callaghan is the director of our department. She is a retired law enforcement professional from the Nassau County Police Department. Her final position there was chief of the department. So as you can well imagine, she again brings a wealth of knowledge along with her associate directors and assistant directors and all of the 60 public safety officers that we have that are on our campus. In fact, almost 40% of our public safety officers are retired law enforcement personnel. And they come to Hofstra eager to work with our students. Our students perceive them to be highly engaged, highly visible, and highly responsive to their needs. We also have an emergency management officer, Erica Schaub, and Erica has been instrumental in working with the university as we prepare for the COVID pandemic and our appropriate response and keeping the community safe throughout the spring, and as she continues to work with the task force in making plans for the fall. All of our public safety officers are New York State certified, and they're all certified as medical first responders. So what that means is that if there is an incident on campus, they'll be the first ones to respond, assess the situation, and determine next steps. Our department is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We're located conveniently on the corner of Hempstead Turnpike and California Avenue, right next to Dunkin' Donuts. Yes, that is a coffee shop, and no, I don't want to promote any form of stereotype, of course, but we were here first. So hopefully you're having a little laugh right now because that joke usually works in person. But our contact information is available, as you can see down below on this screen, and we have a main general information and then our emergency number. And everything I'm going to go through with you today will be covered with your students throughout the course of their new student orientation program as well. So what do? We patrol the campus. We patrol the campus 24 hours a day. We're on foot, we're on bike, we're on Segway units. You'll see the public safety officers in academic areas of campus. You'll see them in the residence halls. It's very common for students to look forward to particular officers working in their first year student areas. We want them to feel comfortable approaching a public safety officer, getting to know them, talking about how things are going. And our public safety officers really enjoy working with our new students. We also respond to student concerns and will investigate any violations of the student conduct code should one occur, or if a student perceives that something has happened that they would like to have investigated, they can turn to us and we'll work with them. We also educate the entire campus community on all kinds of things. We'll talk to faculty members about emergency situations. We will work with our off-campus student population about how to be safe living off campus. We'll do presentations to our new students about how to stay safe both on and off campus. We'll talk to students in preparation for spring break and how to stay safe when they're traveling. So our goal is obviously to continue to educate as many people as possible, and we're always available to help our students. We also respond to medical and other emergencies. I'll get into more detail about some of the kinds of emergency situations that we handle, but be assured not only medical emergencies, but also counseling emergencies. Why do we do what we do? Well, one of the reasons we comply with all of our and publish all of our emergency policies and procedures is because of the Clery Act. And in my role, I serve also as the university's Clery compliance officer. I make sure that the law as it is written is actually followed and adhered to. So how did the Clery Act come about? Well, Jean Clery is a student who, back in 1986, perhaps some of you were in college at that point, was a student who had wanted to go off to Florida. She was from Pennsylvania and she wanted to go off to Florida to go to college, but her family anticipated that maybe she wasn't ready. Maybe it would be safer if she stayed closer to home. And so she enrolled at Lehigh University. Unfortunately, in the spring semester of her first year, she was viciously and brutally raped and murdered in her college residence hall room. Her parents, when they looked into this further, found out that there were a number of crimes that had occurred on the campus that they had not been informed of. Obviously, had they been informed, they probably would have made a different decision about her enrollment there. So, not wanting her life to be lived in vain, they worked tirelessly to enact first state legislation and then eventually federal laws that governed how colleges and universities disclose important information about the safety of the campus community. You'll see on this slide that I included a notation about an annual security and fire safety report. Every college and university who receives federal funding must publish and distribute an annual security report by October 1st of each year. It is a very lengthy document if done correctly, and if it adheres to all of the policy statements, over 100 policy statements that should be included in terms of how a university will prepare emergency policies, how they'll issue campus alerts, how they'll count crime statistics, how they'll prepare a daily crime log that should be made available to anyone who wants to review it. So all of this is compiled and published and is available on our Hofstra Public Safety webpage. So I encourage you to read through it, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or call me and we can set up a time to discuss any questions or concerns that you might have. In compliance with the Clery Act and in compliance with just keeping the safety of our students paramount, we have a number of security systems that we utilize. One of the primary ways that we ensure the safety of the campus community is access to the campus. Every student is required to carry their Hofstra ID card with them. And on that ID card is a swipe access code that will get them into different buildings, the computer labs on campus, residence halls, etc. And in fact, I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. Our resident safety representatives are student employees who work at the entranceways of our residence halls, checking to ensure that anyone who tries to come into a residence hall is actually the person who is carrying that identification. When they swipe, the image of the person coming through will appear on a computer monitor. So the RSR is able to verify the authenticity of the person using the ID card. Why do we do that? It's not because we have safety issues in our residence hall. It's just an added layer of safety, and we feel good about it. Many colleges and universities don't offer that type of 24/7 security, but we really feel that this is their home away from home, and we want students to feel safe and secure and know that there's always someone checking the identifications of who comes in and out of the buildings. Now, if there was an emergency on campus, we utilize our CAN system. That's called the Campus Alert Notification Network. Every student each semester is required to submit their mobile number so that we can send emergency text messages to them if it requires them to take immediate action. For example, if suddenly there was an impending storm and we needed someone to seek access to a nearby building, we might send out a text message. If we were notified that there was something happening adjacent to the campus and we felt that it was important to alert our students to seek shelter, we would use the CAN system. If we have a weather emergency where it's afternoon time and we're trying to get a message out immediately to tell students that because of impending snow, the campus is closing, we would use the CAN system. Now, you as families might be saying, well, how do I get those notifications? Unfortunately, the system only allows us to register one number per student. But if you're signed up with a parent and family program office for their email and their newsletters, Branka Kristic will take any information that we have shared and send it out to you. Other things that we do on campus to ensure the safety of our community includes enhanced lighting and preferred pathways, meaning that we have certain pathways we encourage students during the evenings, particularly when the daytime hours are shorter, to walk north and south and east and west. And along these preferred pathways where we have enhanced lighting, we also have a number of emergency phones on campus. We actually have emergency phones on campus throughout our 200-acre campus. But these emergency phones, the way they work is with a click of a button, it will automatically connect to our emergency line here in our Hofstra Information Center. And a public safety officer will answer the phone and also dispatch public safety officers to the site to ensure that everybody is okay. How do I know it works? Well, of course, we test the equipment. But I love to tell the story about a colleague of mine who said she was just taking a leisurely stroll throughout campus with her young son and suddenly was surrounded by public safety officers. And she at first thought it was a little odd until she realized the reason that they had appeared was because her son had activated the emergency phone. So again, we do know that it works. We also have video cameras located in different areas throughout the campus that assists us with just ensuring the safety of the campus, but also in investigating incidents that could have occurred that are reported to us. So we do have video cameras, as I said, in residence hall areas, entranceways, etc., and certainly on our gates coming in and out of the campus. And at night, speaking of gates, we do close off our residential side, which is known as the north side of campus. So in the evenings, in order to gain access, students have to either come in through the main gate of the campus off of Hempstead Turnpike or through the Oak Street booth. And when they do so, they'll be required to swipe their ID card, and there'll be a public safety officer stationed at the entrance points monitoring who comes in and out of the campus. In terms of emergency response, I did mention already, our public safety officers are trained to provide medical care to students, initial assessments, and they'll determine if the student needs to be seen at our Student Health and Wellness Center or if they require a response from our Nassau County EMTs. They also are trained to be sensitive to counseling emergencies. So they understand that students are under a lot of stress. Sometimes students just need someone to speak to. Maybe it's after hours. And if they think that there's a student who could benefit from speaking to our on-call counselors, they'll arrange for that as well. In terms of emergency response services, we also are required by New York state law to conduct fire drills. And if I could ask you to do one thing, please impress upon your student, particularly if they're a resident student, if they hear that alarm go off in their residence hall, particularly in the middle of the night, they need to vacate. We do not conduct drills at 2 o'clock in the morning. If they hear the alarm activate, it's been activated for a reason. Could it be a false alarm? You know, somebody was making popcorn in their microwave refrigerator approved unit, and some smoke condition created the situation where the alarm was activated, of course, but it still doesn't give a student reason to not leave the building. So we'll monitor the evacuation of the building, we'll go through, we'll knock on doors, and if we find a student has stayed behind who did not leave, then they will be given a notice to appear and asked to go before the dean for student conduct. And we don't want that to happen. The bottom line is we want your students to remain safe. Let's not forget that those students at Seton Hall a number of years ago, they were on the top floor of a high-rise building, they heard the alarms, they thought it was just a false alarm, and they didn't leave, and they perished. And so as a result, you know that we're going to take this very seriously and expect our students and talk to our students about evacuating the building safely and orderly. I've already mentioned our CAN system, so I'm going to move on to the next slide. And I did talk about our emergency blue light phones. We also offer an escort service. Let me be clear, it is a student walking escort service. I always say we have to come up with a better name for that program. But our student escort service is a nice opportunity for students, let's say that they're in class in Breslin Hall, which might be an academic building on the furthest part of the South Campus. And now it's dark and it's late and they end class and they need to get back to the residential side. And they don't want to walk back by themselves. All they have to do is call Public Safety, and we will dispatch 2 student employees who will come over and walk them back to their residence hall, their car, wherever it is that they'd like to go. So we encourage students to take advantage of that service. And of course, any form of victim assistance, we are here to support our students. Sometimes students will run into difficulties and they need to make contact with the local police department. Maybe it was a fender bender off campus and they need some support. All they have to do is talk to us and we will work to put them in touch with the right people. Always here to assist and help ensure the safety of our campus community. Now, as family members, you're probably already debating, do I send my student to campus with a car? Do I not send my student to campus with a car? You like my positive thinking too. We're going to be on campus. That's certainly my hope. But at some point, whether we start our semester on campus or not, eventually the question will come up about vehicles on campus when we are all back together. So let me tell you about the ways we'll work to ensure your students have access to get around if you don't want them to have a vehicle here. Our train shuttle works such that The bus will go throughout the campus, and then it goes to the Hempstead train station, and we have another bus that runs around the campus and goes to the Mineola Long Island Railroad station. Hempstead also has a bus depot, and as a result, many of our students who travel by bus can easily get to campus by boarding the Hofstra shuttle. The Hempstead train station and the train runs 24 hours a day. The Mineola Long Island Railroad station does stop operations between 10 in the morning and then starts up again at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We also offer an entertainment shuttle. We will allow students to board the bus for free and know that they have easy access to get to the Roosevelt Field Mall, our movie theater, Target, and some of the other stores that are along the way of that route. That runs generally on the weekends, and any changes to that schedule will be communicated with students. And you can always gain access to all of our shuttle schedules by looking at our webpage. Finally, we offer a night shuttle. This is a feature that really ensures the safety of our students when they want to get off campus to visit some of their upper class friends who may have decided that they want to live in a house with other Hofstra students. So the night shuttle operates from 9:30 until 5 in the morning. We have a person who will respond to the telephone here and tell students when the next bus will be coming. We don't do door-to-door transportation off campus, but we have mapped out where the majority of our off-campus population lives, and we will drop students pretty close to where it is that they want to go. So it gives them the opportunity to not have to stand out waiting for a bus. They'll be able to call and get a sense of how many minutes before the bus will be at that next stop, and then they can leave their friend's house to board the bus and come back to campus. We offer a variety of services in other areas as well. We have a lost and found program. It's amazing to me how great our student population is here. It's not uncommon at all. If somebody thinks that they've lost their telephone or their cell phone, or they left their laptop unattended, oftentimes students will pick them up and turn them in to us because they don't want something to happen to it. So if a student ever loses anything, they should check with us first. We also have bike shelters. Many of our students come to campus with nice bicycles, and so we encourage them to come over, let us register their bike. We'll engrave their Hofstra ID number into the bicycle so that if it's ever found somewhere where it shouldn't be, we can get back in touch with the student and let them know to come pick up their bike. And we'll also give them a really nice lock that they can use as well, connected to the bike shelters. We offer motor vehicle assistance. Our public safety officers work with students, and we also have a tow truck driver. So if there is an issue during the daytime, students who need their battery jumped or need instructions on how to change a flat tire, we'll work with our students to teach them how to do that as well. And I've already talked about the fact that we do monitor the access of our campus 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but just you can certainly see that we value and think that it is very important that anyone coming onto our campus does have a legitimate reason to be here and does present the proper identification before coming onto the North Campus. We do leave our South Campus gates open, and you might question, well, why do we do that? As I indicated, we have a lot of our upper class students who live in areas adjacent to the campus, so we want them to be safe and be able to easily get back and forth from our library, computer services, etc. And so we do leave those gates open most evenings unless there would be a reason to need to lock it down. Public safety couldn't do what we do without having collaborative relationships with so many different people. As I indicated, our campus is over 200 acres, and as such, as we patrol the campus and as we watch over the campus, you need to understand that if an incident occurs, we have the good fortune of knowing that either Nassau County Police, either the 1st or the 3rd precinct, will respond depending on where the incident occurs, or Hempstead Village. Hempstead Village tends to be more directly connected to a lot of our academic side of the campus. So again, within minutes, if there was an emergency situation and we request the assistance of our local police departments, they're here to back us up. We also work very closely with all of our student organizations. We love seeing our students and their creativity as they work to provide opportunities for engagement on our campus through clubs and organizations and events, particularly over at Hofstra USA, or the students call it Hafusa. But that's where a lot of our major events happen on the weekends. So we work very collaboratively with everyone to support those events and have a presence of public safety, including student staff present. We also work very closely with all our friends in student affairs, including the Dean of Students office, our Title IX officer, and even our Office of Community Standards. And of course, we work with our faculty members to ensure that any needs that they have or concerns that they have are readily addressed. Now, in the event that we are back on campus in the fall, and this presentation is being recorded on May 20th, so you can appreciate that there's a lot of unknowns as I record this presentation. We do have, based on New York State, limited hour residence hall guest policy. So this policy basically says that anyone who lives on campus is entitled to do so, but they will not be able to have guests come to the campus from outside Hofstra, other Hofstra students, whether they're commuting or otherwise, and even students who live on campus in other residence halls will not be able to visit students assigned to a particular building. As things change, we will update our information to you and update our web pages, and Residence Life will be communicating all of this information to you as well. Sometimes at the end of the presentation, I'll get a number of questions that come from family members. So I tried to think of some of the most frequently asked questions that I could provide to you. So do I need to register my car? And if so, how do I register it? Yes, you do need to register your vehicle. And once you are on campus or your student is on campus, they'll just come over. They'll have a brief card of information to complete about the make, the model, their license, and then we'll go outside with them and put some stickers on their vehicle and give them a hang tag. There is no charge for parking. We just ask that they register the vehicles and comply with where they park their vehicles. We have ample parking on campus. Students just need to familiarize themselves with which lots are restricted for faculty, staff, and or commuting students only. Some students will come to campus with electric cars, and they still have to register their vehicle with Hofstra Public Safety first, and then they'll receive a charge point card where they can find charging stations throughout the campus. Another question often that's posed to me is, are our public safety officers armed? No, they are not armed, and no, we do not have any intention of having them armed at this time. As I said, working so closely with our local police departments, we know that within a matter of minutes, if we need backup, we have the local police that will arrive on our campus and take over from that point. What's the on-campus climate like on the weekends regarding alcohol use, etc.? You know, campus here is very different in many ways than 30 years ago when I started. Part of it is obviously our New York State, that as federal law prescribes, requires that only those who are 21 years of age can consume alcohol. And I have not found it to be an issue where students are having wild parties on the weekends here or in our residence halls. We do have Hofstra USA, which allows for alcohol to be present at events, but even then, there will be strict rules for how students have to present identification. They have to have a wristband that shows that they're of age to secure alcohol, and it's not even very common that student events request that alcohol be present. Most of the time they're more excited about having their parties or having their speakers or having whatever the event is that's scheduled than they are about having alcohol present. If an RA runs into any difficulties though in their job as an RA, they certainly can call to public safety and ask for some backup and some support. But you can take a look at our annual security report, and I think you'll see that the number of alcohol violations is very small. How will I be notified if there's an emergency on campus? Well, as I indicated, we do work closely with the Parent and Family Programs Office. So if there is a situation that occurs and it is applicable to everyone, not just a weather emergency that snow is coming and we're going to close campus early, then Branka Christic will send that information and forward that to you. So make sure you sign up for her email. Lastly, what if I can't reach my student and I'm concerned regarding their whereabouts? You know, we are guided by FERPA just like every other office on our campus. And although I can't disclose important information about a student directly to you unless they've signed the FERPA waiver. And even then, we'll try to use our discretion. We're never going to make you sit in angst and think, oh my goodness, I haven't heard from my student. We will assure you that either we know that they have physically been present on campus, or we will follow up with the student and ask that they make contact with you. So if you're ever really concerned, or if you're concerned and need a wellness check done because you think your student has expressed to you over the phone that they're really struggling with anxiety or they're experiencing depression, please call us. We can appropriately respond and check on the student and see how we can best assist them. So that concludes my presentation. I wish we were together today to be able to do this face to face, but I hope that this gives you some additional information to consider prior to arriving. And if you have any questions about anything that you see or have heard from me, please feel free to email PublicSafety@Hofstra.edu. Please review our website, and just know that throughout the course of parent orientation this summer, parent and family orientation, it will either be generally myself or Karen O'Callahan who will be present to actually interact with you and answer additional questions that you might have. Thank you, and congratulations on your students' acceptance to Hofstra. We really are excited that you'll be part of our Hofstra community, and we look forward to serving you and your students' needs as we move forward from here. Have a good day.